Hi, everybody. Man, I thought I was just back there just talking away to myself for a minute because because I thought I had started, but here I am. All right. So I asked people what they wanted to talk about. Hi, Dawn. Um, I asked some people what they wanted to talk about tonight, and I had somebody ask me, "Hi, you guys." It's kind of funny switching channels like that, isn't it? Um, Rhonda, Lisa, hi, friend. Oh my gosh, good to see y'all. Um, oh gosh, I am just joy filled today. I have a lot of gratitude. You know, food addiction, firm and fair. Here's part of the reality of it. Firm and fair. Fair. I went through some pain coming back from Iowa. Um, Seeing a lot of the addiction in my family. And you know what? It's okay. We have to feel those feelings. So if you struggle with your feelings and you think, I shouldn't feel this way or I shouldn't feel that way, yeah, sometimes you need to feel it, right? Sometimes you just need to feel it. So if you're having feelings that you think you should or should not, stop, right? We need to feel our feelings. We need to talk about our feelings because this too shall pass. Because in the last couple of days, 3 or 4 days, I just feel like the clouds have parted and I have my energy back again. I have my attitude of gratitude. And I think it's because I didn't try to avoid feeling those feelings. So we got to feel our feelings. And as I've talked about a lot of times on the Food Addiction Fair and Firm program, we are not good at feeling our feelings. If you're a food addict or if you're an addict of any kind, we don't want to feel our feelings. So part of the deal is learning, thank you, Terry, is learning what our feelings are. So somebody asked me to talk about, you got to decide what you want, not what other people want for you or what other people think you should have or what you think you should want for yourself. I'm not exactly sure exactly about the whole context of that request, but feel free to chime in as I go. But we're going to talk about what do you want? If you have an addiction, food, whatever, do you want to get rid of it? And it's so appropriate a topic because I spoke to somebody last week who I've been working with for quite a while. And hi, Don. Hi, Jackie. Hi, guys. Um, Hi, everybody. What a joy to spend this time together. I'm telling you, I'm verklempt. I was talking to somebody recently who's been struggling a lot with, do I want to give up my addiction to food? There is no doubt in this person's mind that they have a serious food addiction. There is no doubt in this person's mind about the insane behaviors they engage in to obtain food, to sneak alone and be alone with their food, to eat food. There's no doubt in this person's mind that their excessive use of food in relation to their food addiction has caused tremendous health problems. There is no denial for this person about their food addiction. So maybe you have a food addiction and you're aware of it, but you don't know if you want to give it up. Anybody feel that way? Anybody feel like I have this addiction? And this program is specifically about food, but it can be anything. It can be internet pornography. It can be shopping. It can be gambling. It can be alcohol. It can be pain medication. It could be marijuana. Do you want to give it up? Because this person is very unclear. Kind of goes back and forth, back and forth. I confronted my abuser from my childhood. Man, Don, you are one brave soldier. That's all I have to say about that. Way to go. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody needs to do that. You do not necessarily, so this is something you wanted to do, I'm assuming, since we're talking about doing what you want to do, not what you should do, right? So somebody might say, you should confront this person. No, you confront the person if it's something that you want to do. What I believe as a therapist is that, hi, Yvonne, hi, Sharon, that it's really, really important that you talk to somebody about the abuse, that you talk about what you would want to say maybe to the abuser. I don't believe that every single person has to confront the actual abuser face to face in person. But if that's something you wanted to do and you felt safe doing, I say more power to you. Even if you had gone to a therapist and role played that, I would say more power to you, because a lot of times it has a very similar effect. But that is so courageous. It's got to be something that you want to do. Kelsey Pottist, what are you doing? It's your anniversary. Do I need to remind you? I love you. Okay. That threw me off just a minute. All right. So the question was, how do you decide? How do you decide? Do you do what you want to do? Or it did take a lot of courage. Absolutely. We don't do things like that without a lot of courage. And hopefully you got some support, and had somebody you could come back to afterwards and get some validation and work through whatever feelings you had doing that, because it had to be terrifying, right? And we can stay away from engaging in addictive behavior if we can go and process those things and say, rather than going home and just wanting to be away from those feelings of the fear that you went through and the anger you probably felt and the rage and the shame and all those things associated with an event like that. You don't have to eat at it or drink at it or have sex over it. You can talk to somebody, and it's so healing. Terry, too scared to say those words. I don't want to be a liar, even to myself anymore. My secret that was keeping me sick. Do I want to give up this addiction, or can I? Do I want to, or can I? Well, let me say, as the 12 steps say, or Smart Recovery, or whatever kind of recovery program you want to utilize, you can if you want to. You absolutely can. If you are willing to be honest, right? If you are willing to be rigorously honest. I'm a food addict, but keep putting off doing something about it. I almost feel like it will magically go away. I love that you use the word magically, Joanne, because that is exactly what that is. It is magical thinking. And in the other live that I did in the 12-step meeting, we were talking about step 2, and it's talking about the insanity of doing all these things, buying all these weight loss programs and spending all these money on fad diets and this program and that program and this pill and that pill and the next infomercial and the and thinking it's going to go away all by itself, because it isn't. It is not. The reality is you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can, but you're going to have consequences of that. If you have diabetes, it's going to make it worse. If you are overweight, you can't eat what you want when you want and have a healthy weight. It just doesn't work. All right. So can you? Yes. Dawn, it was my adult son. It was. My adult son was great. Good. So you had somebody to talk to. Hi, Connie Wish. Honesty is key, Dawn. It totally is. Seriously, one of the recovery slogans is, you're only as sick as the secrets you keep. And so many people keep secrets because they feel so much shame about them. I'm going to go with the biggie, right? Abuse. If you were sexually abused or physically abused or verbally abused or whatever, if you were abused in any way, it's hard to talk about it, because most people, especially if they were children when this happened, assume some blame that is not theirs. They assume some responsibility And that's where the shame comes from. It's like, what did I do? Or what could I have done? Or how could I have avoided this? Or how could I have stopped it? Or how could I have protected my sister? Or how could I have? You couldn't. You were a child, right? If this stuff happened to you when you were a child, you couldn't do anything about it. So, what you can do today, so that that shame that you carry, that guilt, that anger, that rage, that all the feelings associated with any kind of abuse, so that you don't have to eat at them or drink at them or, you know, think that sugar is going to take them away or carbs are going to take them away or that a diet pill is going to fix it or whatever, is not to keep the secret. That doesn't mean you go all over Facebook and say, hey, guess what? I was sexually abused by the neighbor and grandpa and my... No, boundaries. You go to a therapist or you go to a trusted friend, but by God, it better be a trusted friend because, you know, people are human and fallible. And a lot of times we spill that to a family member and then the whole family picnic is revolves around that. So you go to a therapist or somebody, a minister, or somebody that you can share that secret with in a safe way, where you can say, "This happened to me," and you can say, "I was so angry and I was so scared and I was so humiliated and I felt like it was my fault." Blah blah blah. And you do all of that. You don't have to go to the abuser, but you can. But I would not suggest that unless you've had a lot of help getting to the point where you feel able to do that. And it's never required. You can work through it all without ever going to the person directly. Just want to say that. But when we free ourselves from those secrets, and the more we can let go of the shame, because in this series, from way back when, I've been doing this for over a year now, we've talked about how shame is like the core of addiction. It's not why the addiction, it's why the pain. Because we act out our addictions because we carry pain. And at the root of the pain is the shame. It's the shadow. It's the dark parts of ourselves. It's the things that we have done ourselves, like, steal and lie and cheat and pretend and weasel our way out of things and act like it's not really a problem and treat people meanly and all those things, right? So it's acknowledging those things, but also if we have any secrets, you're only as sick as the secrets you keep. And we have to get rid of the sickness. That's why I refer all the time in all of my work, my retreats, my workshops, the Gain While You Lose class, a lot of the things I send out, I talk about cleaning out your emotional closet. Because in our closet, we have, we all have our skeletons in the closet, right? Wait, I'm missing some comments. I'll come right back to them. We got to clean out those closets. We got to get rid of the emotional skeletons, because if we're hiding secrets, we're hiding the emotions that go with them, and they eat at us, and then we eat at them, right? It's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you. It's very true. But do I want to get rid of it? Do I want to get rid of it? Do I want to get rid of this addiction? Or people just telling me I should get rid of this addiction? Because you know what? I like to eat. You know what? I don't want to face that pain. You know what? I like the way my weight or my addiction keeps me away from people. I like the way that, I just do what I want when I want. No, I don't like the health consequences, but I don't know if I want to give this up. Makes sense to me, because there are consequences for everything, right? If we eat too much of the wrong food, we gain weight. Behavior consequence. If we give up the behavior associated with the addiction, so in this case, we're talking about food. If I give up the food that quiets my feelings, that stuffs my emotions, then guess what the consequence is? I'm going to feel something, right? I am going to feel something. And I don't know if I want to feel those things, right? So there's a trade-off. There's a trade-off. And it takes courage, just like confronting the abuser, whether it's in person or in therapy. It takes courage to say, I'm going to clean out that emotional closet. Oh, a lot of people say that happened in the past. That doesn't affect me today. BS. I had a client tell me maybe the most profound thing, or one of the most profound things I have heard in the 29 years I've been a therapist. Hang on a minute, I'm reading these comments. I felt that way all my life, always wondering and always eating. Yeah. I was too ashamed to talk about the mental and verbal abuse because I felt so stupid putting up with it for so many years, all the while continuing to stuff my face with all kinds of junk. Thought that made me feel better. It was a smokescreen. You know what, Janice? I agree with you on all counts, what you said. But I don't want you to beat yourself up or, talk about how stupid that was, because somewhere inside there, you thought you deserved it, right? You felt, because shame says, I'm not okay. I'm not good enough. I'm not okay. So you put up with that because somewhere in there, you didn't believe enough in yourself. That's what shame is, right? But at some point, you had to have relief, right? So food gave you some temporary relief, and maybe it provided you with enough sanity to get by. So when the 12 steps say you don't wish to shut the door on the past, it means recognizing that you did what you did for some kind of survival or protection, right? So when I think about my own addictions, and the first one was food, and it was one of the absolute worst because my life was so insane and so out of control. But when I look back at that, a part of me, as much anguish as I feel because it was so emotionally painful that time of life, I also feel gratitude because I didn't have the resources within me, and I didn't know or opt to. I mean, I was so young, I didn't know where to go for help. And I did tiptoe in and tiptoe out, but I wasn't emotionally ready, maybe, or capable. They say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Slowly over time, I became more and more ready, but it didn't happen overnight. That's what scares me sometimes, is like with weight loss surgery, we take away your survival skill and we leave you kind of floundering. If I hadn't had the support from my 12-step groups and the people who helped me learn how to live without the substances, I wouldn't have survived. So, you know what? I'm not going to blame myself or hate myself for that. In some ways, that food addiction saved me because I was so emotionally, I would have come undone. I really think I'd have come undone. You know, Even though my life was insane, I think I'd have gone insane without that. And then it switched and switched and switched. But over time, as I got older and I learned about different things like AA and OA and all these things, and I would tiptoe in and tiptoe out because I was too afraid of opening the emotional closet. So I wasn't ready. And maybe I could say I didn't want it yet. I wasn't ready. I don't know. But that served a purpose to protect me until I didn't need the protection anymore. But I needed the protection until I was able to gather the tools, the skills, the support, the resources, the knowledge to not need the other, right? You have to bring in some things before you can push out the other things. So I just wanted to say that, but it is a smokescreen, right? I was thinking about this in the car today. Little aside here. Um, you know, habits we have to replace the habit with a habit. And I don't think people really think about that. Um, so I was going to suggest to everybody and maybe try this and maybe, put it out there all over, right? Like if you want to quit smoking, or if you want to quit eating potato chips, or if you want to give up chocolate, or if, whatever it is, I want to do a water test. When I quit smoking, I had to replace this, and I didn't want to replace it with alcohol or drugs or food, because with cigarettes you suck it down, right? With food you swallow it. um, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to chemically alter myself with food. Like sugar affects your brain, or carbs affect your brain, or nicotine affects your brain, or alcohol or pills. I wanted to replace the bad habit or the addiction with something healthy and something positive. So every time I wanted a cigarette, I drank water. And that's how I quit smoking. So I just want to do this little water test. So if you want to join me, um, every time you do it, put a picture of yourself with your water and post what was going on. I wanted to eat chocolate, I drank the water. So replace that negative habit or part of your addiction with water. So let's do the water test. Okay, enough of that. All right, food doesn't fix problems. No, it does not. It just numbs you for a short time. Absolutely. Therapist is the best thing I've done for myself. You go, Courtney, because you know what? Therapy was the best thing I did for myself. And I did not have the courage to open that emotional closet the first time I went to therapy. Nor did I have the exact right therapist. So it was a combination, but mostly it was because I wasn't ready to look at the cold, hard truth. I didn't want to. Maybe I should have. I don't know. Don't should on yourself, right? I wasn't ready. I don't think I could have emotionally handled it. I don't know. I just didn't. I'd tiptoe in. They'd want to talk about family stuff, and I wasn't ready to be honest about it. I was not ready to be rigorously honest. Therefore, I was not ready to let go of the addiction. But when we eat, right, it numbs us. When we drink, whatever it is, it numbs us. It quiets those emotions. It's like putting a big old strong barrier on that closet door so those emotions can't eke out, right? But in therapy, I got the support, the encouragement, the trust that I needed to slowly but surely peek in that closet. And no, she wasn't going to tell me I was horrible. And no, she wasn't going to say, oh my God, you're the worst person I've ever met. I can't see you. Right? But to say, wow, that must have been bad. To love me through it, and going to support group meetings and getting love and compassion and support gave me the courage to open that door more and more and more, to deal with those emotions, to rid myself of the shame, which gave me room in my cup that was filled with shame. And as I got rid of the shame and the secrets, to put in some self-love and some other love and let it stick and believe it. Oh my God, it's been a great process, right? Can I go to Oz and get some courage? Yes, you can, Dorothy, because guess what they learned in Oz? You've had it all along. Hello. Hello, Terry. You know what? I used to joke about naming my therapy practice the Ruby Red Slippers because truly we all have it in us. We all have everything we need. We need to learn to trust that. We need to learn to get support to implement the strength that we have inside of us. So yes, you can go to Oz, call it whatever you want. I'd call it therapy. You are my teacher, so I guess I'm ready. Well, you're amazing and you're courageous and you're here all the time. So I know you are doing some things, right? Sounds like a good challenge. I think so too, Sarah Jane. Let's do this water challenge. I personally feel like my food addiction came to light after my WS. Absolutely. I'm not going the other end of the spectrum and restrict. Oh, I lost that. restrict calories instead of eating my feelings, which I'm told is basically the same. Feel such an awful flood of guilt and shame. Totally get that, Courtney. I totally, totally, totally get that. Most, I don't know. I think that weight loss surgery definitely puts the spotlight on food addiction for those who suffer from food addiction. I don't think everybody who has weight loss surgery has a food addiction, so let me make that clear to begin with. But for those people who do have a food addiction and aren't aware of it, having weight loss surgery is going to bring that to the surface, which is why I feel such an ethical responsibility to make it known to people before they have surgery, to let them know there's a possibility that you could have a food addiction. I'm not going to label you as being a food addict or not, but I'm going to give you some education, and I'm going to point you in the direction to get some additional information about food addiction. Because if you go into that operating room and you come out with the inability to use your drug, and you don't have the skills or the support or the resources to help you get through it, you're going to be in sorry shape, because you're going to find something else. And that is why I believe we have so much transfer addiction. So I do believe that a lot of people go in not having an understanding that they have an addiction. So that, that can lead to some big, big problems. That's why I think all healthcare professionals need to make that clear if they're working in the weight loss surgery field. So we all need to work together to help educate all the professionals. I'm actually, one of the books on my list of books to write is Bariatric Professionals, Pull Your Heads Out. How do you think that'll go over? Well, I got to be me, right? All right, it's getting close to that time, you guys. This went too fast. So do you want to get rid of your addiction? I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Let's see what Michaela says here. After one of last week's meetings, I came to the realization that I truly believe my food addiction started after I had to go on food stamps for about 8 months after my husband passed. Wow, isn't it amazing? The things that'll bring awareness, I didn't know I was an addict when I went into treatment, for God's sake. I went in thinking I was going because I came from a family full of addicts. It's an amazing thing. It's a realization. It's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of looking at things. And it's going, wow, my life was insane and out of control. And when you lose something, right, like a prescription medicine, you can't get a refill, or when food is taken away from you in the capacity in which you used it to calm yourself emotionally, you start to get a clue like, whoa, this was not just eating to live here. I was living to eat. All right, so awareness is the first step of change, always. All right, you guys think that book would go over real well? Bariatric Professionals, Pull Your Heads Out. You watch, I am going to write it. I was going to make it Bariatric Surgeons, Pull Your Heads Out, but you know what? It's not just the surgeons. Okay, so, all right, you guys. You have to choose. If you don't want it, you don't want it. If you don't want to give up your addiction, you don't want to. But let me suggest that if you're in a place where you're saying, I'm not ready to give it up, I'm not going to judge you, but what I'm going to encourage you to do is look at what's in that closet. What are the emotional skeletons in that closet that you don't want to deal with? Because I believe that's what's holding up the process here. So consider, you have to have a support system before you can face that stuff. So consider therapy, consider support groups, consider 12-step recovery, consider smart recovery, consider OA, FAA, those kinds of things. You can't do it alone, but you can do it. You can do it. You need other people to be there to help you. So I'm totally pumped. I'm totally psyched up. I'm totally joyful that there are a lot of people want to make their lives better. So let's get on with it. Drink some water. Share your posts. Good. I'm glad you're ready to give it up. All right, guys. If you just started watching, or if you just joined in late, remember, You can always go back, start at the beginning, and I want you to know I'm super, super excited about something. I'm doing this Gain While You Lose class, and it's online for the very online only. It was online before, but I would do it live and do it online. I'm going to be doing this class online beginning the 19th, the next Thursday night, online, and we have a record number of people signed up. I'm telling you, in this class, we look at that closet and we look at what's in there, and I supply you with tools and a safe place to start looking at that. And I encourage you to, thank you, Connie Wish, you too, encourage you to get a therapist. And I send homework out every week. It's a good place to dig through some of that stuff, and you can work through it with a therapist. You can find healing from addiction. It's getting rid of shame, learning to love yourself, my friends. All right. I'll put up just go to, let's see, call 706 for Gain While You Lose, or just go to my website at ConnieStapletonPhD.com and get information about it. All right? I think I tried to post that. I don't know if it posted or not. Anyway, thank you, Becky, for saying it's a great class. I love it too. And I'm going to tell you something else. I learned more about myself from teaching this class, and I changed more of my own behaviors by teaching this class than I did in any time in my recovery except for those first 3 or 4 years. So there you have that, right? I can't get that thing to post. Maybe it just did. All right, there it goes. You can find out more information about that class there, or you can go to, hang on, I'll put a link up here real quick. 10 weeks, and every week I do, you'll be able to see me and a PowerPoint, and I'll talk about it, give a lot of personal examples, which I just think helps people. And then I send you homework based on what we talked about. And we dig out a lot of the stuff from the emotional closet. And then we give you a lot of good tools to change how you're living in the present, so you can live a healthier today. All right, so here we go. Here's the link. All right, very cool. All right, guys, I really enjoyed tonight. I really enjoy all of you, and am impressed by you taking your time out for you. Remember, any kind of healing you do on your own with the help of other people, but nobody's doing it for you. In other words, the surgeon didn't save your life. You saved your life by having the surgery and by doing what it takes afterwards. All right, you guys, I will talk to you soon. Go sign up for that class right now. Oh, and here's the other thing about the class. Once you take it, you can take it 10 more times and never pay for it again. Way cool. You know why? Because I want you to have this, and you'll never get it all in that first time through. I guarantee you that. So you can take it 10 times. I have some people who've been in there 5. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Remember, your health. I enjoy you too, Sherry Ann. Your health, your responsibility. This day, every day. Let's do the water test. Talk to you later. What's up with my winking tonight? I don't know. Talk to you later. Bye.